Welcome to a brand new state-of-the-art brain and mind care facility here in Chennai. Brain stimulation to psychological therapy, Ayurveda to yoga, cognitive stimulation to naturopathy, physical, occupational and speech therapy. We are the pioneers and innovators of integrative care for the brain and mind.
Welcome to Buddhi Clinic. Neuropsychiatry as a specialty is one that affects the brain and mind interface. And when we say brain, we know we have an organ there. But when we say mind, we touch our hearts, we touch our heads. The mind is really just the software in our brain, the billions of nerves talking to each other through chemicals. What do we have in our armamentarium to treat these patients? We have surgery for some, medication for many, if not most. But beyond all that, what do we have? And what we do have is rehabilitation, therapy, and care. Now, usually a person with a neuropsychiatric condition will have to go to various places in order to receive these treatments. Imagine if you could get all of them under one roof. Imagine if you could just by traversing floors meet experts in every one of these disciplines who are programmed, prepared, and equipped and qualified to help you. And that really is what we offer you here at Buddhi Clinic. The opportunity of blending modern science and ancient wisdom, the opportunity of being able to receive a very wide array of care treatments that can help you. So do come, visit, see what we have on offer, and I'm sure you will not be disappointed. In fact, I'm sure you will be exhilarated by what you see. Thank you.
The basement houses the state-of-the-art neuromodulation facility. We have repetitive transcranial magnetic stimulation, transcranial electrical stimulation, which comprises of ADCS, TSCS, pulse, and random noise stimulation. We have transauricular vagus nerve stimulation. Along with the neuromodulation, we have yoga and mindful suite, as well as the mind lab, where we are following the traditional as well as the modern way using the computerized models of assessment and therapy.
Welcome to the Neurodiagnostics Lab. So this suite is well equipped to run all our electrophysiological assessments. So here we do the EEG, the nerve conduction studies. We also run the autonomic tests. And here you can see the tilt table, which is used to do part of the autonomic testing. This suite also has a state-of-the-art sleep lab. It's a very comfortable space where patients with sleep disorders have an overnight polysomnography, that is the sleep study. So you can see that this is a suite which is very well equipped to run all the neurodiagnostic tests for patients with neuropsychiatric disorders across the lifespan. Welcome to our advanced gym facility on the rehab floor. Here we have equipment which is customized to address physical disabilities for patients with Parkinson's disease, for stroke, for traumatic brain injuries, and various other neurological disorders which cause a lot of distressing physical disabilities. These are our mobility lab suites, part of the rehab floor. And here our well-trained and expert physical therapists deliver interventions such as electrotherapy, manual therapy, and exercise therapy for patients with pain, balance and posture issues, and autonomic symptoms, among various other physical symptoms of neurological disorders. This is our Dr. Krishna Neurodevelopmental Therapy Suite. And here our physical therapists work with children with neurodevelopmental delays. On the rehab floor, we have the speech and language therapy suite, where our speech and language pathologist delivers speech interventions and swallowing maneuvers to children, adults, and elders with speech and swallowing disorders. The second floor is dedicated to holistic care. So we have the complementary and alternative medical treatments. So here we have 2 dry therapy suites where we do acupressure, reflexology, and meridian massage. And here we have 3 wet therapy suites where we do treatments with medicated oils, powders, use fun packs, after which the patient can go across to the bathroom and have a bath. And these treatments are used for a host of physical, cognitive and behavioral symptoms which are very common in neuropsychiatric disorders.
Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. One such person who has stood by Dr. ESK over the years is our beloved guardian angel, Dr. Ramanand. Chief Clinical Officer, Buddhi Clinic, I would like to invite ma'am onto the dais, please. Thank you, ma'am. I will now request Mrs. Krishna, Director, Buddhi Clinic, to honor our chief guest, Ms. Sunitha Reddy, and extend a warm welcome to her. Thank you, ma'am. Next, I would request ma'am to honor our guest of honor, Professor Sudha Seshen, and extend a warm welcome. Thank you, ma'am. We would also like to extend our warm wishes to our advisors and well-wishers for being a part of our journey. I would like to request Vivek. I would like to request Vaidya to present a bouquet to Mr. Raju Venkatraman, Executive Advisor, and welcome him.
Good afternoon, everyone. I have great pleasure in extending a warm welcome to our chief guest, Ms. Sunitha Reddy, MD of the Core Hospitals, whose friendship, energy, and enthusiasm for Buddhi has been inspiring for us. Our guest of honor, Professor Sudha Seshen, the Vice Chancellor of Tamil Nadu University, who is both a renowned academic leader and a spiritual guide. Welcome, ma'am. Mrs. Sarla Krishna and Mr. D. Krishna, parents of Dr. Deepa Krishna, who have in her memory supported our Neurodevelopmental Therapy unit for many, many years now. Welcome and thank you for all this. Our advisors, Mr. A. Vilayan, Mr. Raju Venkatraman, whose guidance during our journey of growth and development into a young and vibrant organization has been invaluable. We are missing Mr. Srinivas Acharya, who has had to travel for work, who's also been a very important part of that journey. Our friends and well-wishers from across the medical fraternity and lay intelligence, I see many familiar faces in the audience. Very, very warm welcome to all of you. The press gathered here who will no doubt carry our messages of hope and promise to a wider audience. One of the most important things I have learned is that we need to offer to our patients hope and promise, not say that there's nothing that can be done. And I think that what we do here is really try and offer that hope and promise as a first step. And I warmly welcome each and every one of you to today's functions. I'd like to describe today what I consider the 5 pillars of Buddhi Clinic. Our first pillar is our strong academic legacy. And you see that we have a lovely library of books. We've had the opportunity of organizing over 100 academic meetings and collaborations over the years. Our work has been published in many international forums, universities around the world, international academic forums for neuropsychiatry, dementia, epilepsy, neurorehabilitation, and a range of other specialties. And what I'm very, very happy about is that increasingly, several times a year now, our presentations on this integrated care model are sought by international conferences and people putting together meetings where they'd like to hear how we have started doing these treatments that blend modern science and ancient wisdom. And so that's been a very, very important part of the journey. We have 3 Buddhi books that we have published through our case studies and empirical research, and we have chapters in several international books with Cambridge, with Oxford University Press, with Springer, with a number of very reputed publications, all of which address this subject of integrated care in neuropsychiatry. So the first pillar really is the academic pillar on which we stand. The second pillar is integrated neuropsychiatry itself. The borderlands between the brain and mind are difficult borderlands. They are not borderlands that everybody understands. And I think COVID has taught us the criticality of this whole domain. We've had people with typical neuropsychiatric problems like delirium after a bout of COVID, and that's where the brain is affected, and because of that the behavior is affected. And then we have people with mental health issues who are psychologically affected by COVID. So COVID taught us the breadth of symptoms that the brain and mind can actually cause in all of us, and many people continue to have long COVID symptoms. In our center, we have an integrated approach from diagnosis to treatment, care, and rehabilitation, and we do it across the lifespan. Our youngest patient is 2.5 months old with developmental disabilities. Our oldest patient to date is 99. I haven't had a centenarian yet. So in a sense, therefore, it's right across the lifespan. We all have brains and minds, and very often they malfunction and need sorting out. And integrated neuropsychiatry is that. The third pillar is our philosophy. What can we do for people beyond medication and surgery? And that's why you'll see everywhere a sign off, beyond medication. This area, what's called non-pharmacological therapy, is becoming one of the most important areas the world today for any chronic disease. From autism to Alzheimer's, people in worldwide conferences are concerned not just about what drug can I give this person, what procedure can I do, but also what non-pharmacological treatments I can do to improve their activities of daily life and improve their quality of life. And that's really the third pillar. How do you provide a fine blend of modern science, medical process, modern medicine, and ancient wisdom, and bring it all under one roof? And I think that's what we have been working on for years, and I think this building exemplifies that third pillar of integrated care. Our fourth pillar is what I call going beyond the Ivory Tower. My father told me this many, many years ago. He said, patients will come to you for diagnosis, they'll come to you for prescriptions. But how do you expect them to come all the way to you every time for therapy, rehabilitation? It has to go to them. And that's a lesson we all learn. So you need to take care to the doorstep. For major procedures, for expert doctor meetings, people will travel, they will come. But to tell them you come 20 times to a center when someone is disabled, that means 2 other people in the family lose a working day. And I don't think it's really sustainable. So taking care to the doorstep is extremely important to people. Now, how do you take care to the doorstep? We've innovated in many ways. The first way we did was home care, where our teams take pretty much everything we do in this center to the house of the patient, and we are able to deliver care in the house, in the comfort of the home. The second thing we did was in the last year during COVID, we started an in-hospital center in Coimbatore. And that has taught us a lot of lessons because people come to the hospital anyway for their other needs. And it's therefore very convenient and easy for them to seek care in the hospital as long as they're able to travel. We are now innovating during the pandemic because people were worried about having people come to them, especially strange people, especially elders. We started this whole process of do-it-yourself care. And do-it-yourself care is where we send you the kit, what you need for therapy, and our experts come online and guide you. And our kit includes flowcharts, it includes therapy material, it includes a lot of information. One of the other things that we have done during this period is we've developed a workbook for every one of our patients, because therapy is not just our responsibility, it's as much their responsibility to monitor their own progress. So this is something that we very successfully piloted during the pandemic, and these innovations have really helped. The final pillar is social impact. And when we had in 2000 a conference on epilepsy, a very famous epileptologist who was working with tribals in Bangalore, Dr. K.S. Mani, who's no more, he said, you cannot do healthcare without service. And that was a very powerful message, that people want to be helped, people are willing to take help, they are seeking help, but there is a gap sometimes between what they need and what they can actually afford. And that's where a Seva program or a social impact program comes into play. We are very fortunate that Buddhi Seva has many donors. Mrs. Krishna and Mr. Krishna are here, but we have several other donors, both individual philanthropists and corporates who have helped us. And I'm very happy to say that over 300 people have benefited from Seva in this very short period that it has been operational. And we are constantly seeking support so that we can help people. We've made Seva very transparent. We've created a whole means-tested benefit program, and we want to make sure it reaches all those who really need it. So that is the social impact, or the fifth pillar. So I say that Buddhi Clinic, in my view, has to rest on these 5 pillars, and each of them is very, very important in their own way. With the establishment of this new clinic and resource center, we are taking a bold step into the future. Our journey was into a hitherto uncharted area. When we started, I don't think anyone was doing anything like this. I now see people doing pockets of this integrated medicine in various ways, and I'm so happy to see that. I think it's extremely important. But I think we need to mainstream integrated medicine, integrated care for the elderly, integrated care for the brain and mind and disability, and take it where the mainstream is. And I think care has to be delivered, as a mainstream program which healthcare institutions acknowledge, embrace, and for the benefit of older people. This is a global first healthcare model. I've traveled around the world, I've lectured in integrated medicine centers in many places, and I think as a Chennaiite, I'm very happy that there's one more innovation that's coming from Chennai for the world. And we really, really hope that this will reach the world, because I think that people all over the world deserve the best care, the best health care that we can give them. So with that, I will welcome all of you once again. Thank you so much for joining us today, and a very special welcome to all our guests who've taken time off to be with us today. Thank you so much.
Namaste. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Krishnamurti, the promoters of this wonderful Buddhi Clinic, its patrons, and all its supporters. It is indeed a pleasure to be with you this afternoon. I think, I often wonder, I thought, why did Dr. Krishnamurti call me? At Apollo Hospitals when we started, it was all about treating what we felt were centers of excellence. And in that journey, we've worked at looking after cardiac patients, end-to-end care from prevention to looking after them during an intervention and rehabilitation. We've done so for orthopedics, and we really reached a peak oncology. But when it came to neurology, and this was something that I was extremely passionate about, we understood there were 27 subspecialties in the neuro space. And when I look at what Dr. Krishna has done today, I realized that for many of them, we were just throwing darts in the darkness. There was so much that we did not understand. The brain continues to be an enigma. And I think that scientists all over the world have said it is probably the most complex organism, a collection of organisms that has ever existed today. Maybe just as complex as the universe. So, and even an attempt to try to understand this is indeed a great achievement. And I would truly like to congratulate Dr. Krishna for bringing together technology, the human touch, and the ancient wisdom of Ayurveda in this healing journey. So, congratulations, Dr. Krishna. There's so much more I could say about this Buddhi Clinic, but he said it all in his speech. He said more in his AV, so I'm not going to dwell too much about Buddhi Clinic. But I would like to talk about the background as we see it today, the environment as we see it today. Neurodisability is one of the largest causes of disability in the world, and it strikes at a very young population from the age of 15 to 25, and that's really when it peaks. A 2019 study showed that 80% of all disabilities in this age of 16 to 60 was neurodisability. And this could mean about 250 million patients across the world. So I'm not looking at this as a market, but I'm really looking at it in terms of what is the social impact, what is the healing impact that we could make together. Dr. Krishnamurti has done this wonderfully, and I've seen a demonstration of how he's taken it beyond the confines of four walls into homes. And together I believe that we have an opportunity to do something that's good not only for society but for humankind. And we do so in two ways. One is, as being from the medical profession, we've always looked at as the brain as something you treat for blood clots, for strokes, as part of the testing for high blood pressure, or for cancer where you treat tumors. But now we are really looking at what we can do for preventive healthcare. And to that end, we launched this program, Celebrate, at Apollo. I'm so glad to say that we have joined hands and that we will take this further so that we can prevent people from really reaching a point where they become disabled, where they become a liability on their families. And when we've done that, I think, we would have reached a significant milestone. And we can only do this in partnership. I truly believe that the essence of this partnership is bringing our skills together. We as a healthcare organization, using scientific data, enabling access to those who have problems with neurodisabilities, to prevent people from really reaching that point where the dependence on others has become so high, or where they're isolated from the social environment. And this is just the beginning of our journey. As human beings, I think we are insignificant. As individuals, we are really insignificant when we think of the complex universe around us. We are just inhabitants of the planet Earth in the country India, in the city of Madras. Descartes once said, "I think, therefore I am." I think that together we can do so much more, that we can create health and happiness, not just for us, not just for this decade, but in generations to come, because a happy and healthy generation of people will provide that for the next and the future generations. So I wish you success, and I wish us success in this journey of creating health and happiness to all of you.
Vanakkam, and thank you very much. Professor Krishna, Madam Sunita Reddy, Shri Vedayan, Shri Raju Venkatraman, Shri Krishnan and Madam Sarga Krishnan, Dr. Ramaraju, Madam Gayatri, and all the dignitaries here. I am indeed privileged to be here this evening with you all. Brain and the mind together. As rightly said, brain is an extremely complicated organ. And what about the mind? As Dr. Krishnamurti said, we do not even know the location of the mind. Indian philosophy calls the mind an antakarana, meaning it's an inner instrument. And it is this mind which has made each one of us a human being. Man, a Manushyan is because he has a man. The English word human being is supposed to have derived from the Greek-Latin root homo. However, if you trace the root of the word homo itself, it's supposed to be from the Old Norse word hugman. And it is said, hugman, the man part of hugman is related to the mind. So ultimately, it's all one cycle where you find the human being is a manifestation of what the mind is or what the mind thinks. And that is what I believe Dr. Krishnamurti referred to by saying the mind applies the software to the human brain. Putting the brain and the mind together, two complexities together, two complexities of which we have no complete knowledge. The only human being until now who is supposed to have used 2% of his brain was Albert Einstein, meaning the rest of us do not even use 2% of our brains. And combining all this with ancient wisdom, rehabilitation, please accept my congratulations, Dr. Krishnamurti, for thinking of a one-roof solution for multiple problems. Dr. Krishnamurti was referring to the post-COVID situation. I think the post-COVID situation requires not mere rehabilitation from the treatment point of view, but then a social rehabilitation too. One of the key issues of long COVID is a brain fog. The simplest complication of long COVID is the brain fog. And who requires rehabilitation when someone is diagnosed with brain fog? Let's imagine a situation, somebody comes with a brain fog. Let's imagine, hypothetically, it's one of our own assistants at the office. At the office, the boss is tired, the boss is disgusted because he or she is not able to relegate responsibility to this individual who was perfectly normal pre-COVID, but then post-COVID has become a dunce. And the boss will not be unjustified if he or she decides to fire that person. But then look at it from the other perspective. What happens to that individual? And that is where rehabilitation, namely not from the treatment perspective, but then rehabilitation from the social perspective becomes important. I'm touching about post-COVID not because it's recent or because it's topical. Given the situation, the sequelae of the pandemic, though we today think the pandemic is gone and most of us have forgotten our masks, but the sequelae of the pandemic, the real sequelae of the pandemic is likely to remain at least for the next 3 to 4 decades. And that is when this rehabilitation will become extremely important. More and more of neuropsychiatric issues and rehabilitation to those people who come with these issues. Standing here today, I am reminded of a small book by the renowned Tamil writer Jayakanta. I would just say the title of the book. The title of the book read, Silar Ulle Irukiraர்கள். And the book was on inmates of the so-called mental asylum. He just said, Silar Ulle Irukiraர்கள். The implication is Palar Veliye Irukiraர்கள். And it is not for the medical disorder part of it. It is for any neuropsychiatric ailment. It is for any neuropsychiatric ailment, and I think that is where a one-roof solution like the Buddhi Clinic becomes important. Buddhi is again a term which Indian philosophy refers to very often. Lord Yama talks to Nachiketas, saying it should be your buddhi which should ride your chariot of life. Nachiketa, please remember your chariot should be your buddhi. And rest of Indian philosophy talks about buddhi as that instrument which presides over the mind itself. Buddhi dictates the mind. And I think that's what Buddhi Clinic also means. Buddhi Clinic will dictate the brain and the mind and put them on the right path. Yet another area which I think Dr. Krishnamurti has been immensely contributing to is the kind of research and the kind of publications which come from this institution. Brain and mind require a lot of research. Research which need not be core research, but then research which is based on clinical material, clinical work, and observation. I sincerely believe the publications which have come from the Buddhi Clinic were based on the kind of clinical experience that people here have had. Dr. Krishnamurti, I would only request you to come up with more publications. Yes, Buddhi Clinic is catering to several people. However, all your experience will have to be translated into publication, which will go a long way, not only in helping people of the current generation, but then people of prospective and forthcoming generations. I'm happy that Buddhi Clinic has moved into a new premises, probably a slightly larger and more visible premises. And I wish Buddhi Clinic grows more and more. Probably the next time you have a program here, let's have 5 more floors where we can climb up and we ascend up. It's not mere physical ascent, but then intellectual ascent. With that, I once again thank you for providing me with a wonderful opportunity to be here this evening, wishing Buddhi Clinic and all its components and all the 5 pillars more and more and more growth. Thank you very much and all the best.